World War I and II played a very important role, to navigate Poland's economy. Do you think Poland is doing the right thing right now?
Poland used to be one of the poorest countries in Europe. From the point of the history, the location was our nightmare, because we were between aggressive Russia and aggressive Germany, right?
Right.
Yeah, so all the time we were invaded by Russia or by,
oh my God,
by Germany, and in the same time happened that we were invaded by Sweden, for example.
Hi everyone, this is Aubrey. Welcome back to 20 People I Met in Haas. I'm currently in Warsaw, Poland. I'm attending the Global Network of Advanced Management in Kozminski University. One of the highlight moments during this experience is learning about globalization and Poland's economic transformation from Professor Jacek Tomkiewicz. So Professor, thanks for joining me. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for the invitation. So again, my name is Jacek Tomkiewicz. I am professor here at Kozminski University, Warsaw, Poland. I've got the pleasure and honor to be the Dean of the College of the Finance and Economics here at Kozminski. I've got also some experience in policy making. I used to be advisor of the Ministry of Finance. Now I'm holding the position of the member of the Fiscal Council, yeah? So the governmental body which does supervise fiscal policy. So we do look what is going on with the public, that budget deficit, public expenditures, and so on. So you see, I combine academic career with some active policy making.
In this 1 week, I study a lot about the Poland history, and I think the World War I and II played a very important role, to navigate Poland's economy. So, do you think, first of all, Poland is doing the right thing right now? And what can be the risk or something we learned from the past? Yeah.
Poland used to be one of the poorest countries in Europe. Not in our region, in Europe, right?
The whole Europe.
Yeah, the whole Europe. So
wow.
we were poorest than I know, Romania, Hungary, and so on. Yeah? So it's not just the case of the region. Generally, the Poland was the laggard of Europe, and something happened. It's very interesting thing because. To be honest, again, you can provide a lot of examples what happened, but again, there is no one single factor, right? So there is political class, there is some luck, there is a geographical location. So from the point of location, from the point of the history, the location was our nightmare, because we were between aggressive Russia and aggressive Germany, right?
Right.
Yeah. So all the time we were invaded by Russia or by
oh my God,
by Germany, and in the same time happened that we were invaded by Sweden, for example.
Yeah. So in the World War I, you choose the right side, and then the second war, you choose the wrong side.
In the first war, Poland did not exist.
Oh.
To have even more interesting thing, there was more than 100 years of the history without Poland on the map. So we were divided between Russia, Germany and Austria. Okay, so Poland was recreated after the first war, right? And it lasted just 20 years.
Oh.
Because when we were invaded again together by Germany and Russia.
Wow, but that means for economy, let's say I'm a business owner, that means I own this business in my country, and the next day it's gonna expire.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So you operate in part of Poland which used to be Russian Empire, right? And the next day you are in Poland, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday you were in Germany, now you are in Poland. So we had to gather together Poland from the three pieces, right? Different languages, different laws, different institutions. So this was huge challenge. But what I'm saying, from the point of the history, the location was our nightmare. But after 90s, it was blessing. Yeah, because we are on the bridge between East and West, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we made a lot of example how we managed to deal with Germany and Ukraine at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Buy from here, sell there, right?
That's the peaceful time
exactly.
of the world. But now the things start changing.
Unfortunately, now situation is changing again.
Yeah.
But fortunately now we've got only one enemy. Yeah. Potential enemy, because for sure it's hard to believe that Russia is going to invade us, right? But again, the threat is from the east, not from the west. But you're absolutely right. Something what we call the dividend, peace dividend, unfortunately is over, right? So that's why we have to spend a lot of money on defense instead of spending on scholarship, right? We are buying tanks instead of labs and so on. But again, it's the history is again saying that that this political decision made in Moscow, Paris, Berlin do matter.
But from what I heard, like there's kind of like spirit of resilience in Polish people.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So on the one hand, we mention very often that we are lacking global champions. So if you look at the 500 companies list, right, I think there is only one Poland, right? So the Orlen is stay-down champion. So we can say that because of the lack of the big companies, right, we do not have economic power, we cannot expand, and so on and so on. But I'm always saying, but on the other hand, thanks to the structure of our economy, we are very elastic. You've got opportunity to visit some companies, right?
Yes.
So you see way of thinking of these people, right?
Yeah.
All the time they're looking for the opportunity, right?
Exactly. And there are many like family business.
Exactly.
And surprisingly, look at the way how they think of running business is not about skill fast or like, just gain the capital fast. They think about how to make a business running for hundreds of years. So they invest a lot in R&D, and they think about how to make the product quality and from the technology-wise, like leading the world. So.
Absolutely right. So this a long-term way of thinking, but in the same time, they are much more elastic than the global corporation, right? Try to make the decision in this or that global corporation, and in our family business, we can make it quit. So if you look at Poland in the beginning of 90s, it looked totally different, right? And now you see we've got quite big companies with strategies, right? With the resources, we're thinking about the R&D and so on and so on. So Polish economy is resilient, and one sort of this resilience is the fact that our companies are very, very elastic, right?
So speaking back to the globalization, so I learned a lot, like all the efforts Poland is doing to make sure like you are winning in this globalization process. I believe most of the country, majority in the world, like they understand the importance to be part of this globalization. However, some country they are succeeding, some country they are losing. Like so. I think you mentioned a concept saying globalization doesn't necessarily mean the equalization, right? So how you should like strategically play your role in this game, it's important. So I'm curious, like in your opinion, like what is some like key strategies or the concept the country need to keep in mind in order to win in this process?
Sure, of course, fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately from the point of view of economic science, because we can write another great book, right, on the factors of development. There are no one simple solution, right? So there is a great book by Dani Rodrik. The title is One Economics, Many Recipes. So generally the message is there is no one simple story, right? Something what does make sense in Poland does not in Argentina. Something what is very useful, I know, in Ukraine does not make sense in the Mexico and so on. So it's no one simple solution, because on the one hand, of course, you have to be open, right? You have to be open for the ideas, for the capital, for the trade. But on the other hand, you have to remember that you can be involved in the global economy, like I know Mexico with these drug cartels, right? Again, it's globalization, right? It's globalization when in Poland you can buy drugs from Colombia, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's not something what we are looking for. So, of course, it does depend, right? So, on the one hand, we can have a successful story of the Middle East, the Gulf countries, right? They made a lot of money because of the natural resources.
Yeah.
But in the same time, remember that the biggest oil reserves are in Venezuela. Okay, so you see, it's not enough to have oil. On the other hand, we can mention, Singapore. Remember, Singapore has nothing, just a location, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just being on the Strait of the Malacca, and because of the trade, they are one of the most successful countries in the world.
Yeah, they make it work.
Exactly. So you see, we can say location is the crucial issue, right?
Yeah.
But in the same time, let's look at Somalia. Do you see Somalia on the map?
Yes, yes.
The best location you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Entire trade from Asia to Europe goes through Somalia, right?
But they play in the wrong way.
But you see, in the same time, because of the location, they are not making progress, but just the opposite, right? So we cannot say that having the pirates is the way of using its location, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at Poland and Ukraine. The nice example, because in the beginning of 90s, in the 80s, Ukraine was better in everything. Better, bigger country, better location, better climate, better soil, right? Quite sophisticated industry. Remember that in the Ukraine they did produce jets, rockets, for nuclear energy, right?
Yes.
So sophisticated country, good education, good university, great location on the Black Sea, climate, everything is great. On the other hand, we've got Estonia. Yeah, so the most successful republic of the former Soviet Union, right? Estonia is the most successful country, and have a look at Estonia. What they got? Nothing. Cold sea, that's it. Okay, so you see, it's not just the case of the resources, not just the case of the resources, but the combination of the other.
To be honest, before I visit, I didn't know much about how this economy is changing in Europe, because there are so many countries.
Sure.
So previously, I treat like all the countries in Europe as one economy entity. But now it seems among different countries, the speed of development is very different. So seems like for the Western Europe, the growth is slowing down, even there is some regression. But for the Central Europe, the economy is doing really good. However, you all belong to European Union, do you see to be part of European Union will be beneficial in next, say 10-20 years? How do you see the European economy in general?
For sure, you're absolutely right. But again, even if we go more in details, there is nothing like common, Central Europe, right? Remember that Central and Eastern Europe, we've got also, Belarus and Moldova. And it's hard to say that they do well, right? Remember that we've got Hungary, which is a member of the EU, and they are lagging behind. So again, the issue is more complicated, but for sure, the European Union is a great idea. It's not only about the funds, it's not only about getting the money from the Brussels, but the most important thing is that we've got the common area of the same issues, the same values, the same law, free movement of the people, free movement of the capital. Again, it's hard to imagine for my parents, but without having the passport, you can take a car in Warsaw and go to Lisbon, right?
So convenient.
It's hard to imagine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm great fan of enlargement of the EU, but only if the countries fulfill the criteria. Remember that now we've got the process of integration, but North Macedonia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, they were not accepted. Ukraine is still waiting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not just the case that everybody who wants can be the member. Moldova is waiting, right? But again, if the country shows that they are able to fulfill all these quite hard criteria, I'm great fan of the EU enlargement, right? Remember, we can travel, we can trade, we can learn, we can teach, we can exchange goods, services, ideas, people. It's great. It's one of the best idea in the world. Remember, just 8 years ago, Germany was fighting with France. And you see,
8 years ago.
8 years ago, one generation. There are still people who live, right? Who are alive, who do remember how Germany did occupy the Paris, and then France did occupy some part of Germany. And you see now the core of the EU. So again, great idea, and let's hope that it will work. But of course, we do realize it's more and more complicated.
Yeah, it
something
is.
what can be done together with 5 countries. Now we've got 27.
Yeah, I think not only in Europe, right? Like there are two main powers you cannot ignore in the world. It's like China and America.
Sure.
So basically, from your point of view, let's say in this process of globalization, how do you like work with these two countries or like the other part of Europe? So make sure like you still doing the right thing and not, I would say, not like making mistake, but in the past, like when you choose one side, it might goes wrong, right?
Sure. Because you see, on the one hand, we can say Europe is the place in the world with the best quality of life, right? Without the discussion, right? There is no other place in the world with so high public goods, I know, transportation, culture, and so on, safety, for environment and so on, right? The place in the world. But on the other hand, we have to realize, to sustain this quality of life, we have to grow, right? Our society is aging, right? So for sure, the number of people who work is going to decline. So the only option is to raise productivity, right? To be able to sustain this quite quality of life. Yeah. So to be or not to be is not just to grow faster than I know US, China, and so on. But to be or not to be is to grow, because it is the only way to sustain our quality of life. And we have to realize that unfortunately we are losing behind, right? We are lagging behind because there are no European Google, there is no European Facebook, right? In the case of AI, there is only one French Mistral, right? So the big system. So we can say that on the one hand, because of the better customer protection, better data protection, we feel safer in Europe, right? So I know telecoms from Europe have to fulfill much more legal requirements than American ones, right? It's better for me, for a customer. I feel safer. I know that my data cannot be traded. But on the other hand, we are not having Polish Facebook, right? We are not having I know Austrian Google and so on.
Yeah.
This is it. So on the one hand, regulation makes us safer and stable, but on the other hand, we are losing this entrepreneurial spirit, this activism, which is, for example, the case of US.
Yeah. Okay, I have one last question.
Sure.
So from your opinion, in next like 10 to 20 years, where do you see Poland sits in this world roadmap? And then which country or what type of country you see they will be the winner of, if we go with this trend of the globalization with the technologies and what is happening today?
Okay, so again, first of all, I'm optimistic, and of course, if we assume that there is no war, there is no, I know, climate huge catastrophe, we are going to do better, right? We are still quite good from the point of demography. What you are mentioning, 10 years is okay, right? Because I will be still working, right? The problem will be, I know, in 25 years, right? Because my generation, there are a lot of people in my age, right? There was a demographic boom this about 45 years ago. So of course we are going to age, but again, next 10, 20 years is okay, right? We are still be able to grow fast. So my generation of expert entrepreneurs are going to do well. So we have to realize we are already number 5 country in Europe. Only Germany, France, Italy, and Spain are bigger economies than Poland, right? In the case of per capita term, we already higher than Portugal, Greece. We are going to overtake, I think, Italy, maybe Spain. So
wow.
We are going to be one of the leading power in
amazing
in the European Union. So I'm great optimist about it. From the point of view of the world, I hope that these big countries will catch up. By big countries, I mean Indonesia, Philippines, Brazil from the Latin America, I have great hope for the Venezuela, Argentina, and so on. So let's hope that it will be not only the US and and China, but these emerging economies with huge potential will catch up. Of course, it's important also from the point of view of the politics, right? Because it means that it will be not only Xi Jinping and Donald Trump, but they have to discuss also with Brazilian friends, with the Indonesia, Venezuela, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Egypt, and so on. So I'm great fan of globalization. So I still hope, and there are reasons for it, that the catching up process will go on, right? But we can benefit from the fact that there are many intelligent, ambitious people in the world.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.